about way cash crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 thing right there called monetary Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RT News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, the question is, why is Russia buying so much gold? And so today I have a couple articles I want to share with you dealing with the recent increase in the holding of the Central Bank of Russia's possession of gold, and share with you my thoughts on why that is. And it happens to be very timely with the idea that I'm releasing a new free ebook. And so for those that are interested and want a copy of it, join me tonight for an RTD live talk at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll be looking to share the book with those that are tuning in tonight to get a chance to dive inside and find out the 5 most important reasons of holding precious metals before the next recession comes. And so as always, before I dive into today's articles, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button for more RT News updates as well as interviews. And if you're new to RTD altogether, I want to encourage you to visit the Rethinking a Dollar University page, where I put together all my prior interviews dealing with monetary matters, such as the one we're experiencing now, with the importance of owning gold and silver in your possession. And so without further ado, let's dive into today's articles. So today I have 4 articles all dealing with the continuous increase in the gold holdings of the country of Russia. And I want to share with you my thoughts as to why I believe this is very important for you and I to begin taking a serious look into, even more so, because as is known, the country that has the most gold is the one that dictates monetary policy. And so as of now, with the increase in the de-dollarization process, it's good to say that all this gold is tied into some type of event that's coming sooner than later. And it's well worth your note as well as mine to be prepared for this by doing what the central bankers do in the form of holding precious metals. And so without further ado, I'm going to get into the articles. And as always, feel free to take time to share this information with your family and friends so they can become more aware of monetary matters happening around this planet with the substance known as gold. So let's dive into the very first one. Here we have from RT, and it says, Russia overtakes China in gold reserves, race to end U.S. dollar dominance. The next one here is from The Trumpet, and it's as of last summer, but the title speaks for itself. Why is Russia buying so much gold? The next one here is from the Washington Times as of this last week, and it says, while U.S. piles up debt, Russians are hoarding gold. And the very last one here is from the United States Gold Bureau, and it's entitled The Real Story About Russia's Gold Holdings. So let's run through the very first one. And so Russia overtakes China in gold reserves, race to end U.S. dollar dominance. So that in of itself speaks volumes. It says the Central Bank of Russia boosted its holdings of gold by almost 20 metric tons last month, with reserves reaching 1,857 tons. It has increased its holdings every month since March of 2015. It says Russia is now among the top 5 gold holders after surpassing Russia, which reportedly holds 1,843 tons, which anyone who follows alternative media know that that number is very understated, extremely. It says over the last 15 years, Moscow and Beijing have been aggressively accumulating gold reserves to cut their dependence on the U.S. dollar. This quote is saying here, interestingly, both Russia and China publicize and promote their accumulation of gold and publicly refer to gold as strategic monetary asset. They make no secret of this, but on the flip side, the U.S. does the opposite and constantly downplays the strategic role of gold. Singapore's bullion star, precious metals expert Ronan Manley told RT in December. It says the U.S. claims to be the largest holder of gold with 8,134 tons, but according to Manley, the number is impossible to verify. He's quoted as saying the entire story around the U.S. gold reserves is opaque and secretive. There have never been a full independent audit of the U.S. gold reserves, and the custodians of the gold, the U.S. Mint and the Federal Reserve of New York, will not let anybody into the vaults to view the gold or to count it. So there, in and of itself, is the idea that, here we have Russia and China both openly and publicly accumulating all this gold, and it's labeled as being a strategic monetary asset. So strategic monetary asset leads me to believe that it's a strategy and it's going to be utilized in case something doesn't work out the way that, the Western world would prefer for it to work out. So that lets me know that there's something that's already been in the works for roughly the last 15 years that is in play as of now. And it's taking full effect now that Russia is supposedly passing in their gold holdings. So more information there if you're interested in reading that one. So here we have the article from The Trumpet. It says, why is Russia buying so much gold? And this came out as of last summer, but it's very telling if you read through some of the fine print. It says both Russia and China are stockpiling gold in a bid to cut their economic dependency on the United States dollar. According to Russian state media outlets such as Sputnik News, according to our estimates, there will be a downward trend in the dollar exchange rate in the next 15 years. Financial expert Philip told Sputnik in Germany, says in the long run, it cannot be guaranteed that the dollar will remain a global reserve currency. So here we have an idea that, we have another alternative media or news story in regards to the importance of gold and silver and how it's labeled as a diversification away from the dollar. Why? Because economists in the euro areas doesn't see the dollar being a reserve currency for much longer. So that in and of itself will let you know that the importance of having precious metals is well worth your while, because if you have all these major countries over here just preparing for something, wouldn't it be well worth your while to be doing the same? So more information there if you're interested in reading further for yourself. Next one here says, while U.S. piles up debt, Russians are hoarding gold. It seems like Vladimir Putin learned a great deal about the financial markets during the crisis and currency collapse, which led to Russia's default at the turn of the last century. It says causing misery among the population. Think 1929 and people jumping out of windows. But the most striking development over the last several years has been the unyielding push from the Kremlin to buy gold. Scroll down a little bit more. It says Russia, China, Iran, and others have been working to undercut the dollar's central role in international trade for some time now. It says swamp lines have been set up for trade in their own currencies, chipping away at the Bretton Woods Agreement implemented at the end of World War II that enshrined the greenback as a currency of choice of the international financial system. It says there is a war on the petrodollar. So there in of itself, the idea that there's swaps amongst countries or whatnot, all looking to bypass the dollar, that is called the de-dollarization process, where they are trying to limit themselves, limit their dependency upon the dollar and use their own currencies. And as it says there, to get into the petrodollar. So just more idea as to why it's important for Russia as well as other people to behold precious metals. And the very last one here, it says the real story about Russia's gold holdings. And the very first line jumped out to me, and it says, Russia knows something. It says not because they have a crystal ball, but because they are active participants in what they see as the new financial world order. So just bringing ideas, just give you some idea of what's going on here. Here we have every article hinting at reasons why the dollar is under a lot of pressure, because a lot of nations are preparing for something that will shift the current monetary system away from the need of the petrodollar / the greenback / the Federal Reserve note, as all mentioned in these prior articles. And so that is the reason why gold is so important, or precious metals in general are so important in this day and in the days ahead. And so I believe the Russian government as well as China are all preparing for what will come after the announcement of the next recession and the monetary policy that will be implemented to help slow down or to alleviate the idea of a complete monetary collapse in the credit market, as well as with government bonds and the stock market, you name it. Everything that's been considered a financial safe haven or financial asset will be tested majorly. And I think that the nations that hold the most gold and silver will be the ones that come out on top in this whole shift. So that plays into the idea as to why Russia is holding so much gold, as I'm sure as other reasons as well. But other than that, I just want to shine some light on this subject matter because I think it's very important to know, as well as very timely for the release of the ebook that I want to share with you guys tonight on the RTD Live Talk. So other than that, hope all is well. If you found this informative, please share this with your family and friends so they can become more aware on these matters. And I look forward to seeing you tonight at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for a live talk on today's article, as well as yesterday's from the hearing, newly elected Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. So see you later on.